out or something. Yeah, no, I get it. You're welcome. Yeah.
Where they were having all the things.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. Oh. They not have. So.
Yeah.
Ya, y hay otros negocios también que quedan.
But then,
Ahí les digo que no.
you have this here too.
Yeah. Get a few calls. Just get it in the quote. See what it would do. The rerun costs and make sure it all works out. Disability will. I mean, in Minnesota.
Que siempre tienen que estar ahí todos los precios. La gente que está y afuera agarran, a veces lo bota, a veces lo agarran. La página divide la cuatro para que no gaste toda la hoja. Porque es grande, pero cuando vayas a poner información,
Oh, on camp.
feel free to go grab one.
He's ready if you want to get food right now. Warm right now. I'll go speak.
Right.
Everybody knows.
You grab some. Appreciate it. Yeah, of course. All right, we're just, for everybody who's here is grabbing lunch, so for those online, just hang out for a couple minutes here.
Thank you. I feel so.
that great, Shannon? Thank you. It's Dallas. Oh, you're going to- Fly with them. Or if I did- I have not yet.
They cater every single Tuesday at Black Tide Murray.
Losing.
Well, I figured. None of you were gonna have so. Don't fall asleep after you get that word.
Greg always has.
Oh. Make one person.
Yeah, cool.
What are rabbits? Yeah, like. Like, what are our favorites? Sometimes, right? I didn't enter that with something else.
You don't just.
Think we could at least do the drawing to get us started? When I'm finishing up? We have one left. Last day, so I don't want to stop here. What, like 4 hours?
That much, yeah. Let's sit for 5 minutes.
30 minutes?
We can take
30 minutes, or a five minutes?
Yes.
Oh. Are the drawing, right, so you can get enough feedback? You're ready for turn to get started, let's say? Alright, this is the lucky one. Did you not take my turn?
No.
You want-
You're not.
Smaller.
I wasn't even in there, but no. You were late, right?
All right, I'm gonna, do you want to drop this really quick, Alex? See the volume in here, I'll walk around for us. Wait for this, because it'll be noisy. everybody online can hear us too. So welcome to our team meeting. You're welcome. And I'm here with Dallas right now for my leadership camp, getting to hear from our new CEO and doing lots of great learning between this afternoon and through Thursday. But he'll be back in the office on Friday. So I get to talk today. So this is our time for a moment of gratitude. We have gratitude to want to share whether it's in their personal life, professional life, first year. I'll say thank you, Frank. Yeah, Peter.
You for bringing such a good attitude here.
Oh. For a great thing, congrats for the help. You're good?
I woke up.
Woke up this morning, so I'm just gonna be grateful for every day. I'm gratitude to everybody who participated in Red Day last Thursday. That was definitely a great time here, making cards. I was impressed with your crafting skills, the limited supplies I gave you, so good job. As well as those who participated in Love Decisions and at Bridget. So we were kind of all over the place. It was fun. And it was great to see everybody was able to make it to lunch. I know we helped a lot of people put smiling faces out there. So thank you for that. And look forward to next year's Red Day. Any other moments of gratitude? The food, how's the food? Okay. Huh? What? We're filling it for everybody today.
So, Mark just wanted to let everyone know, we've got a bunch of flyers on the program that the Lake area offers. So these can all be co-branded with your information if you'd like. They have a lot of down payment assistance options available. Obviously, I'm not gonna get into that because he can explain it better than I can. But if you do want to co-brand, he did say, if you would prefer not to have him on there, we can just put your information on there as well. So just let me know, I've got access to all these files. Yeah, that's all I need.
So when you see Mark, thank him for lunch today.
You did a good job.
You did a great job. Alex,
I will go quick with it. We have 10 people signed up so far, which means we are gonna be giving away $500 no matter what. But we would love to give away $500 at each location, so we still need more people to sign up. Me and Sean just finished all the marketing stuff. I say me, but it's a little bit me and then a lot of it's Sean. And so as soon as you sign up, you are going to get that marketing plan. You're going to get the marketing materials. So you can start marketing this event. Now, if you've already signed up, Sean will reach out to you, but please sign up so we can get an accurate number of how many people will be attending. And again, the more people that signed up after 20 agents have signed up, the cheaper the event will become per agent. All right. That's it. Oh, ignore this. That was nothing.
this event and why you pay for it is just frankly to cover the cash giveaway, right? This isn't a profitable thing for the market center by any means.
Yeah.
That's why it says, once we hit that $1,000, then we get to drop down the price for more people that participate. I've seen great success, did a great video, very close to that, on this event. And the earlier you sign up and start marketing it, the better your results will be. I've seen people crush it, get 50, 60.
Yes. Yes.
I've seen people who wait till the day before to say, sign up tomorrow, and then they're like, why not two or none? So sign up really so that you can really leverage what's already been doing for you. You don't have to pay those marketing materials. And you pay $50 or less to be able to potentially give away $500 to your client.
You could get a massive return on your investment for sure. And this might be a good opportunity to dust off your business plan from the beginning of this year. Look at what your transaction goal is. And if you are falling behind on that, this would be an opportunity to play catch up and get some more deals in your pipeline. All right. Thank you.
Make sense? All right, so this, I don't want to try to do, because not kind of it is. We have a fair cooperation and we feel like maybe the waters are getting a little muddy water, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So for those of you who maybe have not met Greg here, he's our broker over at Maple Grove. He and Lynn work very closely together to support you as agents as well as our agents over at Maple Grove, and has really been on the forefront of all that's coming up with our delayed market. He's here for the next 30 minutes. I know. Yeah, to talk to us more about how to utilize this upcoming change in your business.
Good morning. Lots of them here, by the way, I will stay around for questions. Might have questions. I just want to cover some new changes that are going on. The last time I was here, we talked about the lawsuits and how all those forms and stuff are going to shake out. How many of you have been on the internet in the last couple of weeks? Reading CNN or real estate news or any other stuff that you've heard about? And I'll mention today because they've been very public with what they'd like to push forward. Compass is one real estate broker that would like to, and I'm going to try to explain to you what they would like to do as a business. And keep in mind, there are roughly 100,000 real estate companies in the U.S. If we all operated the same, would there be a reason to have 100,000 real estate companies? No, and there's roughly 1.5 million realtors. So think about that for a minute. But the business has undergone some changes. I've been in the business forever, and in the last 2 years, 3 years, we've gone through more change than all of the years before that. And we're still going through some changes. So I'm going to try to explain to you a new MLS policy that is available to sellers and listing brokers in the marketing of the home. Now, is everybody aware of what clear cooperation policy is as it relates to M? When you listed a house for sale and you publicly advertised it within the 24 hours of your first publicly marketing it, you have to have it into MLS. And the reason for that is it works great for buyers, great for sellers, and great for agents to have access to all of that inventory. So in the olden days, before computers and stuff, an agent would like throw a sign in the yard. They would submit it to MLS, but it would take MLS 7 days to get that listing inventory out to the rest of the brokers. Well, now we all have computers, right, in our hand, and that access. So we expect to have that as soon as it's available. So we're going to go through a couple of things here as it relates to your business. And again, if you have questions, and I think that you will get to the end, it might be because I'm going to cover it, but I'll try to answer every question we have. So marketing clarification, just so we all understand, what is the internet that relates to your business? Okay, I need to keep let you know the MLS database and access to real estate agents is not considered the internet. Now I know that's where I go to get it. Right, that's a delivery method to me, but our MLS is not open to the public. Everybody understand that? So when I talk today about MLS, that's you as an agent and your access. And when I talk about the internet, that's everything else. Okay, so like Zillow. Is Zillow part of the MLS or is Zillow part of the internet? And that's publicly available to everybody, right? So we're going when we talk today about some of these policies and what they mean, I'm going to try to clarify. If I don't, does that break this down in real estate agents or does that in the rest of the whole world? We good with that? The next slide. Clear cooperation policy. We talked about that briefly. That in a couple of years ago when NAR, with brokers, some brokers were taking advantage of a policy of listing a property and eventually getting it on the MLS, but not quick enough so that their competitors could see it. And so NAR came up with a policy, clear cooperation. In other words, within 24 hours of first marketing a property, it has to be submitted and available on the MLS for everybody to see. Okay, we do not make decisions for our sellers of these policies that are coming up. We inform them, they decide, right? Because I can't decide what's best for Isaac in the marketing this property, right? When he goes on the market, what he goes on at, how he goes on showings, all of those, offers, when they get off presented, how he's gonna respond, when he's gonna respond, does he call for highest and best? Those are all of our compliance decisions. So we advise, we inform, they decide. And the seller must make informed consent whether their home goes directly to an active status, whether it goes to a withheld, whether it goes to a public soon, or the new policy, the delayed marketable exempt listing. That's the new policy, DMEL. Remember the initials, you're gonna come to hate them, but we're gonna talk about it. So we never put our interests in front of our clients, right? We are fiduciary for them. We owe them, we put their interests above ours. What is our interest in a real estate transaction? Money, right? I mean, that's our interest group. Yeah, sitting on with sale, being able to promote it, but at the end of the day, our interest basically is we get paid for our efforts, right? We always have to put our clients' interests in front of our next slide. So the multiple listing options for seller policy will work alongside clear cooperation policy. Another MLS policy provides sellers and their listing brokers more options to choice when marketing the property, while also supporting fair housing by providing buyers and their listing brokers and buyer brokers with equal access to important MLS property information. And part of this new policy, the fear is that not everybody will have access to every property or have, and by access, I mean to the information, not necessarily to get in the door, but at least have access to know that the property is good. And that's part of the fear of this new policy. So we're just going to cover some of our policies and then get into the new policy. On withheld listing, the seller makes that decision, hey guys, you're going to be listing my property for sale. I don't want to go on the market and have all sorts of crazy things happen right now. But if you know, if you got any buyers in your office, so Isaac might say, well, I'm sure we've got, a lot of great agents in my office. It's possible that they have a buyer on their market. Isaac, say, well, why don't for the first 2 weeks, why don't you see if you can rustle up a buyer in your office? So what Isaac needs to know is there's no public marketing when he takes my listing, right? We'll sign it in the yard. He is going to list my house. He's going to have all the forms. We're going to assign a price, right? He's going to put the listing in MLS as an withheld, which is only shared. Okay? And for the first week, all of you guys, did try to sell my house without it going to MLS. So withheld listing means the listing's just held in-house. He can only advertise to the agents here. And you can have showings and bring buyers to the property that can accept offers and go to a pending status. We all okay with withhelds. So it's an inner office, and it's only this office. It's not all KW offices, it's only this one because you guys are a separate brokerage. Okay, so it's not going to be on the internet, and it's not going to be on MLS. Good so far. Now the policy before was you could not share that listing with anybody other than the brokerage because then the seller selected Isaac and all of you guys. Now house and that somebody, one of our friends that he's on a realty. So in theory, to share that listing with another broker or another agent. So far, now they're tweaking that slightly, and we'll get to that in a minute. Next one. Withheld status provides a listing broker with the availability of a home for sale, no public or agent open houses, may not design public advertising or not in the neighborhood. The listing agent may negotiate or accept offers in the MLS status to active or other status, not was accepted because we have an obligation to update status when the status changes. And the property could stay in the withheld until it actually closed or expired. It never has to go on MLS, but if we want it to, right? You'd like to advertise in the neighborhood, you'd like to get your name out there, the sale where it's going to get reported anyway. So eventually, withheld to turn up in MLS, and it went from a withheld to an active completed and status in the new flow. Any questions on that? Next slide. Now listing. NAR also recently clarified that any agent with a withheld listing can share, they call them either withheld or private exclusive listing on a one-to-one basis with agents at other brokerages or their clients. So what that means now, this is new, what it means now is you've got a withheld listing, right? And you can say, my friend Jimmy at ABC Realty, nice to meet you. I think he has a buyer looking in this price. I can reach out to Jimmy and say, hey, Jimmy, just listed a home at 1234 Main Street, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. We'll find it on the MLS with help. But Jimmy, if you have somebody that would like to know about it or like to look at it, please let me know if you can cooperate. He can do that on a one-to-one basis. If he had 3 agents that were friends of his at that same company, he cannot send one email to the 3 of us. Now, the argument is, well, can you send 3 separate emails to those 3 agents? I don't know how to answer that question, right? Because they want me to send 50 emails to the 50 agents, real estate company down the street, and it's serve the same purpose. The intent of the withheld to the seller is maybe confidentiality, maybe security reason. They don't want people to know for whatever reason, and we should honor that. I have a problem with this not permitting one, because in the old days, right, we all want all of our clients to know about all properties. And what if I emailed you with my withheld listing? I didn't send it to you. Right? And you won't possibly have clients. Your client has an opportunity. Your client doesn't have. So I don't like this policy. I don't think they're really in the seller's best interest long term, and I don't want to get sued. But I have a problem with this one-to-one okay to do. Because if that's the case, then I'm going to be here and I'm going to share all my listening with you, and I hope you're going to do the same thing when you have the withheld over at the other company, right? And so we kind of got our own deal going, and we're selling properties without the rest of the world knowing. And in some areas, that could be discriminatory. So I don't like this one-to-one stuff. I say with it should be available for everybody or available for just the agents that are on us. I can't really pick and choose. Are we good with that? Let's go to the next one. Coming forward, and you all know what these are. Again, you need a seller, you can bring, just like a withheld listing, you need a seller to bring one thing, that's submitted to the active market. Go out and put it listed, coming soon, and to get people lining up and help us start going on the fire. We need to seller plan form, provide the market with a notice of an upcoming available to the other property. Again, that's everybody, all the agents, public. That see those no showing previews for showings during the coming soon period. No public or anything open houses during the coming soon period. They can hey, it's going to get the market on Friday morning. I've got nothing else scheduled at 1 o'clock. You can do all sorts of public marketing. No inspection, right? So you get the buyer and says, I'm ready to write a site that's an offer, but I'd like to get my inspection. Can't do that. Okay. Coming soon, the listing broker and the seller can negotiate or accept site unseen offers. If they accept one, then you must change the MLS status. So I'll give you an example. You've got my house listed coming soon, it's going to come on available on Friday, right? You write a site unseen offer and present it, right? And you get a 1 day inspection period in there. So I accept the offer, figuring, well, you've got 1 day to do your inspection. It wasn't going to come active until Friday, it's 3 more days. We can probably either confirm that it's still independent or it's going to blow up prior to that. And so I think, well, we won't tell anybody that it's not a coming soon anymore, that actually an offer has been accepted. You do need to do that. So a listing agent, the seller can't use it to, let's say, fool the rest of the marketplace that the house, didn't have an offer and it didn't go at some point in time, you got to change the status. Any questions on that? Let's get contract question number 1. And part of what we're talking about today is the seller's right to not have their property go on the internet. Now again, the internet is different than the MLS. So right now in our listing contracts, the seller can already make a decision. I don't want this on the internet. Now, the internet is gonna be your Zillows, your Realtor.com, Homes.com, Redfin, right? So the public portals where people go to search homes, right? Will be on the internet. So question number one says, under existing policy of selling out of IDX players, it means it won't be on even KellerWilliams.com. It will not be on KellerWilliams.com, but it'll be on the MLS for all of us to see. So a seller can opt out of having their home on IDX, and it's not on IDX, it's gonna be on Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Redfin, whatever else. You all good so far? Anybody confused? Disappointing, nobody's confused. Let's go to the next. Brokerage MLS display options. We all know what IDX website is. That's your, you can look at that, your great arthouse.com, where someone can go search for homes under my Keller Williams name, right? So that's what they call an IDX search. Can somebody go to your website right now and look at homes without registering? Now, is it in your best interest? Maybe I had to look at 10 homes to maybe try to capture that information. Okay. That is when IDX search does not require any, so to put a key in the door, unlock, get my information before I open the door to search for homes. There's VOW websites where somebody, you can make somebody register up front. You get their contact information, valid email, right? So that before they can cross that threshold, you've got, let's say it's a more defined relationship than somebody who's shopping on your website currently. When somebody has a VOW website, those brokerages are displaying more information to the buyer than an IDX list. It might have the whole history of the listing time on the property. It might have price reviews. It might have total days on market. In different parts of the country, they treat them differently. But in our market, if somebody had a VOW website, like a Redfin, they gather more information on the way up, and then they give you more stuff as a result of your offering. We may be switching our website to this moving forward in the future. It's part of this new policy we'll get to in a minute. It's nothing you need to worry about. It's something Marty does. Okay. So, and the brokerage need to worry about too, whether we're going to develop that or not. Next slide. Current seller option. Listing displayed on the internet. If the seller selects no, this listing will not be included in the MLS database. I go to internet websites. Again, it'll be on the MLS. It won't be on realty.com, KW.com, Zillow, Redfin, whatever. So when we counsel our sellers in the future, we might be looking at some of these questions because before, what was your response when filling out those 4 questions? Yeah, no. Right? Now you might be having a discussion with your client and hanging out with their needs. But our listing contracts already take care of some of the change that the MLS is proposing. Next slide. Delayed marketing exempt listing. I'm going to try to explain this. And again, stop me if you're confused. With a delayed marketing exempt listing, although others will not be able to advertise a broker's property via the syndication, sellers can authorize their listing broker to advertise property online, such as on a listing broker's own website or elsewhere. Also, for delayed marketing exempt listings, the listing broker must secure a signed disclosure from the seller documenting the seller's informed consent to waive the benefits of immediate public marketing. So I'll try to explain it to you. Okay, seller listed house with me under this delayed marketing exempt policy. Okay, I can put it on the Greg Hartos and Keller Williams Classic Roofing Northwest website for everybody to see. You can't have it on the Keller Williams Roseville list. You cannot have it on your website. Edina Realty can't have it. Still, Redfin, Homes, Realtor.com cannot have it. The seller authorized me to do some advertising in advance of everything, because you would agree that when a seller listed his house with me, you guys get to advertise it for free anyway. You get to all put it on your IDX websites, on the company sites, right? So That's the extent of your permitted advertising. You can't take my listing and put it on your Facebook and say, hey, great new listing, we're going to bill 350, whatever, right? You can do it through your IDX feed, but you can't do Facebook, printed ads, pretend that listing's yours. We've good so far? Okay, so under this delayed marketing, the listing broker, listing agent get to do some marketing that nobody else can do. You're gonna see it on the MLS, and you can send that to your client, you can show it, and you can bring it on. But you guys don't get to have this on your websites yet. Now, the period of time that I would do that as a listing broker with my seller's authorization has not been set yet in Minneapolis. We have an RMLS meeting on Friday. On that board of directors there, we're gonna discuss, is it gonna be 1 day? Is it gonna be 2 days? Is it gonna be 21 like a coming soon, or anything in between? So we'll get back to you, but how long can the listing broker do that? Now, would you all agree that that probably gives the listing broker a little advantage over the rest of them? Right? And so might a consumer say, hey, I need to go to Keller Williams Class Realty Northwest to see their withheld list or their marketing exempt listings, right? Because it's not on your website. And the good part is it's not going to be until. So that explains that a little bit. Now, let me give you some background. Compass is a broker in town, right? And like I said, there's 100,000 brokers in the US, different companies. Compass is the larger brokers, if you look at their national scope, and they're a one licensed broker in 50 states. And so their policy, I believe what they wanted to do is get their own listings, keep them in-house for some period of time, right? Do their own marketing. I believe they did not want to share it on MLS so you wouldn't see it. Right? But they wanted to do whatever they wanted. NAR came off, made this policy because people didn't like the clear cooperation, and Compass was one of those. It's why do this service and everybody. And so NAR, I think, undercut them by coming out and saying, look, we'll create this delayed marketing exempt, but you got to share the listing on MLS. So they get to keep it a secret from the rest of the internet world, but they don't get to keep it secret from you as an agent. You good so far? Because you will see, I mean, it's got to be turned into MLS within 24 hours, any kind of public marketing. So you guys can see on MLS now. This is the reason for you to get all your clients looking on your website or actually signed up for an MLS search with you versus searching on Realtor.com, AW.com or anything, because you're going to have information on the MLS when all these other sites. Good so far?
Yeah, just, I was gonna ask for clarification of, this is for the listing for broker. When you got a one broker, one, like you mentioned, Compass is one license. How did you put it one license broker?
They are a nationally owned company, so there's like, it's one brokerage. Whereas we are franchises, right? And there's a number of them around town, right? So Compass is one broker, just like EXP is one broker. I don't believe this gives them any advantage, right? Compass isn't very large in our market here, right? Does not have a dominant market share by any means. So I don't think it makes a difference in our market, but like in Seattle, where they have 25% of the market, they thought, they had billboards up that said, hey, see 25% of the listing inventory sooner, come to Compass.com. So NAR, I believe, undercut them by saying, you guys can do this, so have the delayed marketing where you guys are the only ones putting out anything to the public, but you got to share it with our realtor friends, and they get to share it with you. Let's go to the next slide. Delayed marketing exempt. I'm sorry, hopefully we'll connect all the dots. So we need a seller signing form to do this. And again, this is not something you can talk to a seller into because I think it's your best interest, right? It's what's in the client's best interest. I'll give you an example. There's a lady getting divorced. It's a messy divorce, or she's got somebody stalking her, and she says, "Look, I want to list my house, but I don't want the whole market to know." Right? But withheld would probably work ideal for her. Or you might say, well, before it hits the general market, is there anything you can do to promote my house and help sell it without it hitting the whole world seeing it? I got nosy neighbors, family I don't want to know that I'm, whatever it is. So this might work in some instances for the seller, or if you counsel them into that. But for the most part, I don't like this policy because I think it creates liability for all of us at the end of the day. So, delayed marketing, we're the seller, we've already covered this, right? It's gonna be on the MLS, not on the internet. Go to the next one. The multiple listing options for sellers policy is effective March 25th. So this already came out roughly 2 months ago. And the MLSs were then notified, and now the MLSs are working through that, and we've got a special meeting on Friday to address that. And the changes must be implemented by September 30th. NER has dictated that for any realtor-owned MLSs, this policy has to be in place. We have a realtor-owned MLS. The regional MLS in Minnesota is owned by the Minneapolis Association of Realtors, the St. Paul Association of Realtors, and the Rochester. So we're a realtor-owned MLS. So we have to have this policy in place, or we're not eligible to have NER provided insurance for the MLS. Okay, go to the next slide. Skip this one, because I explained some of this. So what do these changes mean for home sellers? Home sellers who want to limit the marketing of their property through IDX and syndication will have more options and choice to market the property. Most sellers, they list their house with you put it on MLS, it goes out to IDX, goes out to Zillow, Realtor.com, and everywhere else. A seller could say, I don't like that marketing. I don't want this to be out for the whole world to see. I want to control it a little bit tighter, so I'm going to allow you as a listing broker to have a certain period of time to do it where you're the only advertiser of it. But again, it will be on MLS.
I just don't see the reason for it. Because if someone's doing that, generally they have a reason that's almost infinite, so they're not gonna say, I only want to be secret about this for a week. Like, if they have a secret, they want to keep it, they're gonna be keeping it, so they're gonna say, check the box.
I think that with held, and remember, not all markets do what we do here in the way we do. Not all markets have it coming soon, right? So this is a national method, and it was NAR trying to reply to some of the largest brokers in the country. Now, if you remember the lawsuit, everybody remember the lawsuit? Okay, NAR, if you all remember, paid $400 million for about 70% of the agents and about 85% of the brokerages to be covered. They did not cover Keller Williams, EXP, Home Services of America, Compass. So there's a bunch of political stuff going on and people wanting to try different things because aren't we all different? Right? So some of this is political and this is, they're trying to work through this policy. It may be tweaked in the future. But let's go to the next slide. That's it. There's more. Local rules. Please note that the new policy will change in MLS's local mandatory submission deadlines or CCP. Remember, if I get a listing, how many days do I have? 2 days.
I'm the non.
What if I possibly that is one? Okay. So this does not change our local MLS rule. Go to the next slide. NAR, well, we already talked about this. You can, then you can do one another broker without listings. However, multi-brokerage communications about a listing will constitute public marketing. So if you send one email to 10 agents at 10 different companies, that's public marketing. We're going to send separate emails. Next one. Who hates this new policy? Okay, does everybody know who Zillow is? Okay, what Zillow's business plan? Drive to look at houses on my website because I got all the inventory. I'm going to collect names, numbers. People are going to say, send me more information. And then what is Zillow going to do? They're going to sell it back to you. Now, look, first off, on your listing, are you featured on your listing on Zillow? It's got another featured agent, right? So even on your own listings, Zillow isn't doing you anything. Okay, so Zillow doesn't like the fact that these listings may not be available on their website right away. Like, right, first 20,000 agents still are gonna have money in the MLS, and Zillow's not gonna be able to tell anybody, right? Okay, the listing broker will be able to do their own advertising, and Zillow can't do anything. So Zillow doesn't like this. So their executives announced that homes not listed on the MLS within 24 hours of public marketing. In other words, anybody taking advantage of this listing broker is gonna do the delayed marketing, won't be published on Zillow for the life of the listing. So I'll give you an example. You list my house, Isaac, and I say, hey, let's do the delayed marketing deal. I like where you're firm for 7 days, if that's how long the MLS is gonna allow us to do that. Over, it'll go to everybody on the MLS. Well, let's try to sell it that way, Isaac. And so after 7 days, after 6 days, I go to Isaac, hey, I'm not getting as many eyeballs, showings, or demand for my house. Isaac, let's do this on, put it active on the MLS, send it out to all the IDX sites. So Isaac said, great, Greg, I'll take care of that. And now it goes out to everybody's IDX site. So it'll be on edinarealty.com, aw.com, it'll be on your personal agent website, right? Zillow is saying, if that listing's been delayed, turn into the MLS, but not on Zillow, we're not gonna let you put it on Zillow when it comes off, when it goes to an active status. Zillow is trying to control the market. By the way, they are a real estate broker as well. So Zillow, who sells homes here, right? Does anybody know any Zillow agents? Ever had any Zillow agents show your listing? Ever show a Zillow house? So they're trying to control the market. I like this part of the equation, where if they do this, they won't ever list that property on on Zillow.com unless that seller has changed brokerages. So like contractual interference to me, okay? But I think this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, because now you'll be able to turn to consumers and say, hey, you got a free homes on the internet? Where you been looking? You've been looking at Zillow. Did you know that I can guarantee you, not only are they inaccurate and it's never been a good source before, but if I could tell you, I can guarantee you that they don't have all of the active listings in the Minnesota area, would you stop using them? Okay, so, and then you'll briefly explain this process where they actually ban part of their business from, we're telling the world, we don't want all the active lists. We only want the active listings that were active everywhere from day one. So you'll be able to get people off of Zillow, and your solution for them will not be, hey, go to my website and look at homes, because you're gonna not get those until they've been activated for Zillow too. So you'll be able to say, hey, if you sign up with me, I'll put you in with our MLS search. You'll be getting those listings as soon as they become available. So would you rather sit on your computer tonight, knowing you're not going to see all the houses? Or would you rather get a email from me every time I'm listening that fits your wants, needs, price range, come on market? I think we will be able to eliminate Zillow's influence in our business. So I don't mind this part of the call. But Zillow has come out and said, we're not going to list them, okay? And certain other brokerages, Redfin, who's bought by Rocket, is kind of saying the thing. But let's go to the next slide. Who likes this policy? Certain brokerages. Compass has been the one most outspoken about it, because in certain markets, they do have a large market share, Chicago, Seattle, other parts of the country where they can have a large enough market share that they can influence the market and drive more eyeballs to them than to their competitors. And so they're the one that is really the driving reason behind this change. Let's go to the next slide. What does this all mean to you as an agent? Any listing other than a withheld will still be available to you on MLS as an agent. You need to let the public know that, right? And again, refer to how they will not be receiving that inventory until well after you. And so that's why you need me, an agent. And again, I tell people, whether you select me or some other good agent, This is the reason why you can work with the local realtors, sign a buyer rep agreement, so that you've got access to all the inventory. Your clients, suspect, prospect will need to be signed up under your MLS to gain access to these listings while they're in the marketing exempt period. Your active sellers and prospective sellers will not see the homes on IDX portal. So if you've got a listing and the guy down the street is listed with a broker and they're doing a marketing exempt, right? That contract, that's a permission, and that broker permission to sign in the yard, right? To do all sorts of marketing. And if your seller says, I went to Zillow last night, I can't find my neighbor's home on there, how much are they asking for? And you go, well, actually, you do have that information. Stop looking at Zillow, Mr. Seller, call me. So you'll want to make sure you educate your seller that I'm your best resource for information and your buyers, and not some of those other websites.
Can you put up there about them publicly?
Did that comment? The comment that was here a minute ago? Yeah. Oh, it's all over the place. Yeah, that's their policy. Yeah, so you can make it in real estate in other places. Go to the next one. So this was actually on Fortune magazine. That was their title of an article. Say goodbye to a lot of listings on Zillow and Redfin. Go copy that. Give it out to buyers. You prove my point. They're not going to have all the inventory. Your local real estate professional will. And again, whether they pick me or pick somebody else, that's in their benefit. So that's the magazine article that just came up. Go ahead. Did he really say this? So the Zillow's guy said, we will continue to advocate on behalf of the consumer. It's the right path for the industry. And we know the companies that will succeed are those that deliver consumers, not those that put their own interests ahead of the needs of the buyers and sellers they purport to represent. Now, again, what does Zillow do to support home buyers and sellers? They strip your listing information off of their deal. I couldn't believe that they said that. They pretended to be it. They want to be seen as the savior to all real estate buyers and sellers, right? So they're very selfish in how they market your listings. They take your name off of it. Now, Homes.com is entirely different. Well, look at your own listings on Zillow and Homes.com and see where your name and face finally show up. You're going to have to hunt for it on Zillow. You're not going to have to hunt for it on Homes.com. So that's what the Zillow guys said, pretending to fight against this policy for consumers. Go to the next slide. And this is a Compass. Compass is preparing to deploy physical books filled with private listings and viewable and Has anyone remember the old MLS books that they got published every other week? They were like a phone book. Right, Peter, were you in the business end? I wasn't in the business. Okay. Every Thursday we would get new MLS books. And there's 9 to a page, and it was all the listings in the St. Paul had one book, Minneapolis had another book, but they came out every Thursday. That didn't go far enough back for Zillow. They're going to keep separate books. Now, when I first got into the business, when I first got into the business, our front desk every day got a delivery of MLS sheets. They were 8.5 by 5.5. They were 3 whole months. Now our office kept all of the areas in town. So the front desk person, all it did all day was open these 3-ring binders and put in a new listing and tear out a sold one, right? And I, as an agent, kept my own hot areas that I kind of worked in, so I had my own set. I could spend probably the first hour and a half of every day, but I saw all the inventory every day, right? So I was going through the book. So Compass is going back to there, where they say, we're going to create a book of our own marketing exempt listings. Now, for their agents, I would imagine they're going to have an electronic version, so you can check in through Compass. We get to go down to Compass's office, walk in their front door and say, hey, I'd like to look at your new listing, your exempt list. Now, here's what I have been praying, that every day about 150 agents show up at each one of their 2 offices and ask them to do. Or everybody calls in every day and says, hey, you got any new lists? but, so Compass is going back to these books. It's fun. It's just silly and stupid. But you will be able, again, there's no reason for you to go to their offices, it will be on MLS. However, they are inviting agents to go there and look at the books. And by the way, we're not going to use it as a training opportunity. And they do invite consumers to stop by and ask to see the book too. So you guys already have the stuff on MLS, so it's not a big deal. In our market, there is happening in MLS. Compass can, we can't.
And if they have a website,
They're scrambling to say that this is really a good policy. It's very self-serving from a real estate brokerage website.
what all Compass is gonna be on that. And
I'm gonna get a little big property on Compass.com behind the registration. And the danger for that is that they should be asking for a consumer that logs in, hey, you're already under contract with another broker because we have the loan. It's a terrible idea.
Look at your information. Look at your business. Look at it.
I think they're doing this to recover from the mess that they created. So anyway, you'll have access to that stuff on internet, but don't fear. Tell your clients you'll have access. Compass here and market here, I think it was but remember a couple of months ago, what was the rumor? Did we remember? That Compass had bought Home Service. Who is Home Service? He done in realty. So if that had turned true, all of a sudden this discussion would be really important in our mind. Okay, next slide. Hedging their bets on lots of them. Coming out and saying, this is a terrible idea. I can't imagine why anybody would do it. Well, we're gonna prepare ourselves in case we do this too. Because they don't want to lose the consumer that says, I want that. And being a broker just says, we don't know. We're gonna offer it. Right, and an option for our clients when they request. I don't think it's a good idea. Just like I don't think withheld is the most part of it. So we will have it available as an option. I don't, we're gonna go through some training if you're gonna do it, because you gotta approach the client the right way, because at the end of the day, you can be sued for anything you do in any transaction. So why set up something that looks fishy to begin with, right? So a lot of brokers anywhere, which is Coldwell Banker in our marketplace, as well as Century 21, ERA, Sotheby's, and the other brokers, they're preparing to do that as well. I don't think they will, because they've been outspoken against it. Next slide. Zillow, if you publicly market a listing on social media via an e-blast or even with the yard sign, but delay putting it on the IDX, your listing will not be allowed on Zillow, not now, not later, period. So Zillow is trying to control how you and your sellers market properties, right? And I don't think that's good for any broker to try to control the rest of the marketplace. So they're worried about their business income, right? Their influence. And I don't think this is a bad deal for us in taking a swing at that. Next slide. Homes.com. So Homes.com is a competitor of Zillow's. And what Homes, if you go to Homes.com, your name's prominently displayed on your list. The guy that owns Homes.com is like Zillow. He doesn't like real estate agents because he makes money on all of us, but he doesn't like Zillow. So he says, well, you're going to ban their listing for life. We're going to boost the listings on our website. So any properties that were off the MLS, we're on the MLS, but off the IDX searches, when they become on the IDX searches, they're going to boost them. And I'm okay with that. Kind of fun to have those two poking each other in the next slide. So get your folks off of ZillowRealtor.com, Homes.com. Zillow will admittedly not have all the inventory. Your MLS search will have all of the inventory. Your IDX search will not have all of the inventory. So AW.com will not have all the inventory, but you as a Realtor MLS member will. And get buyers to sign up for your MLS searches and sellers so that they can see what's going on in competition. Next slide. Is that the last one?
Will you share these?
Will I share these? You want all of them? Or just the good ones? There's 30 slides. They're up. I don't mind sharing. Before you do this, you put my name and Brandon's in your office on it. Because I don't want to send up at some competitor who will then take credit for all of our hard work. So yeah, we'll brand them and then give them out, but don't give them out to other agents. I'd rather, yeah,
My number's not on
you know, I can tell you guys some leader forums, but I try to get you to understand the big why, what's going on out there in the business and how you market against. I mean, yeah, if you met with a seller and he said, hey, something you and another agent, this other agent suggesting that if they do this delayed marketing exempt listing contract, I want you to be able to sell against that. Mr. Seller, you know what that means? I mean, only a small part of the market, public market's gonna see your listing. I mean, if you had a Corvette to sell, okay, you got a Corvette, and you wanna what, maximize your sale of that Corvette? Right, would you walk and vacuum the car, put a for sale sign in the window, back it into the garage and shut the garage door? Or would you leave it parked on the curb and then probably advertising Corvettes, and Hot Rod Magazine and Cars.com? What would you do? So, Mr. Seller, I believe it's your best. I believe that the agent that's proposing that is doing that for reasons that aren't beneficial to you. I don't want to question his business practices, but this is how I market. I think it's important for all 20,000 agents and part of our MLS and all of their clients as well as the rest of the world to see it. So that's how you would sell against somebody, because there will be sellers that say, look, this is better than a hotel because it gets publicly marketed, right? But it's limited to public market.
It's kind of like what United Realty does, because they don't push it out to sites.
Well, if you remember initially when Zillow started, United Realty did not have any of the listings with Zillow. And then they succumbed to market pressures.
They don't have everything, but you can't find them on, like, if it's not the MLS.
And by the way, as long as it's on the MLS,
Right, yeah.
I want people to come to me, sign up for my home searches and everything else. Took too much time to do it.
A minute left of the meeting, Greg.
I'll be around for questions. Anybody have anything to influence everybody right now?
To be honest.
It is. But this is where a good agent that knows all of the rules comes into play.
Marketing and still trying to figure out how you use it. The withheld, it's not a bad thing. Typically, it's used while they're clearing their house for market, and they have you now as their
Well,
agent.
that's what Dell, their house has to be available for showing to agents in the office, right? Otherwise, don't do it with Dell.
Yeah, but
I get it.
yeah, anybody asking.
Sometimes you take with Dell to secure the listing today so that they don't list next week with somebody else. I get it. But when we list the property for sale and with Dell, our obligation as a broker is to put in here and try to sell the house right away. Not a week from Thursday when the carpet's. Right answer. Yeah, and only have one answer.
Everything and not have a listing agreement while they're getting their house.
I get it. That's another discussion, but yeah, withheld protects you as an agent, but it does obligate. The withheld doesn't say, don't try to sell my house in the next 2 weeks. When you take a listing and says, sell my house.
Oh, that's part of your. That say these are eventually gonna be rehab.
But anyway, we can talk about it more. Was it confusing? Stop. 6 number there.
That's okay.